Cristobal, who comes over from Oregon, where he had great success with that program. Trying to turn it around here with Miami, off to a 2-3 start, 0-1 in conference play, and 0-1 away from Miami Gardens. Football is in the air. From the 2. King. 14 yards on the return for Virginia Tech.
The Saints getting down there and setting the tone on special teams for the Kings.
So Grant Wells leads them out. Likes to put it in the air, second most in the ACC. Threw for 277 yards in the loss at Pitt last Saturday, 45-29. Much closer than that score might indicate. Left side, second level, first down and more. Malachi Thomas, and you just heard Wiley talk about him. He makes an immediate impact.
Yeah, last year against Syracuse, we came to town right here in Lane Stadium, and number 24, we had to add him to our list. He wasn't even on the 2 deep. Boy, did he have a big day that day. He's been banged up quite a bit since then. First action, as he mentioned last week, and he's right back at it. Uh-oh.
That one was deflected away. Looking for Smith. James Williams had a chance at it. 0 in white, orange, and green.
2 outstanding safeties here for the Canes. Williams would have taken that one back to the house and quieted down this crowd quite a bit, that's for sure, but it's 2nd and 10.
Thomas again for 4 yards. Virginia Tech is 2-4, 1-2 in conference play. That win came against Boston College earlier this season. 2-1 at home for the Hokies. And 1-0 at home in conference play. 34% on third down of the season for Virginia Tech. That's 12th in the ACC. Wells looking to the sideline for further instruction. Call it 3rd and 6. 5 receivers to choose from, and he picks one out. This is right. End of the play. Miami appeared to strip it away near the 35. Was Porter. So right at the end of the play, as Wright made the catch.
Well, it's another bust, and this has been the story of the season, unfortunately, for the Canes, but able to come and make up for it, knocking the ball down. Williams, Avante Williams, looks like not only does he force the fumble, he'll pick it up as well. A nice little hop. And what could have been another big hitter for the hometown Hokies, instead, here's our first look at TVD, Tyler Van Dyke and the Cane offense.
Would have been a 27-yard play for Virginia Tech. Instead, out in the flat, and there goes the runner, Smith. And he takes it down near the 35 of Virginia Tech. That's a 30-yard play. And Smith did most of the work base.
Absolutely. Couple good blocks out there on the perimeter. That's how you spring those big ones. Miami looking for some more big plays. They got one the first play of the game.
That's going to be a loss of 2.
Virginia Tech fans got to be happy to see number 45 in on that play. And just in the game, he's been banged up a little bit. He was injured out versus Pitt in the game last week. And he leads this Hokie defense coming in with 4 tackles for loss. Makes that 5 now. Unfortunately, with the injuries, he's only played in 4 games.
Van Dyke. Left side, miscommunication with the receiver, Frank Ladson Jr. Time for our impact players, and they're brought to you by your local Toyota dealers, James.
Well, you talk about the big week last week for Tyler Van Dyke. His tight end, Will Mallory, had a big one as well. 8 receptions, 115 yards, 20 catches there on the season. And for Virginia Tech, right there, the man in the middle, the Shelby sensation.
Was covered up and went downfield. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
All right, after the penalty call, there's a look at number 4, the senior linebacker out of Shelby, North Carolina. La Flama Blanca in the middle of this defense. Great linebacker play on both teams here today, as there usually is. So it's second down and long.
Van Dyke trying to put a little touch on it. One-handed grab attempt inside the 10. And made down by the 5. Colby Young at 42 yards from Van Dyke.
Decent coverage. Breon Murray, stride for stride, right there with him. A beautifully thrown football by Van Dyke. An even prettier catch. Secures it. Goes down to the ground, and Colby Young, great big week against UNC. He keeps on coming here in the first today.
Now inside the red zone, brought to you by CPI Security. Van Dyke has the time. Back of the end zone, touchdown Miami. Van Dyke with the TD pass to Frank Ladson Jr., and it's a 5-yard touchdown toss.
Touchdown Miami. Pass complete to the right.
Miami offensive coordinator Josh Gaddis just hoping to have a few more of these receivers step up here in recent weeks. Restrepo's injured. He's still out for a few more games. Keyshawn Smith banged up as well. So we've seen it on this drive. Colby Young, and then across the back of the end zone, plenty of time. Good protection up front from a banged-up Miami offensive line. Tyler Van Dyke patiently waits for Ladson to go across the back of the end zone and to score 6, hoping to make it 7 off of the turnover.
Jalen Griffin coming off the field slowly for Virginia Tech. It's the first time that Virginia Tech has given up points off of the opposition's opening drive all season. Borregales for the extra point. After the 8th TD pass of the season from Tyler Van Dyke, and the first TD reception of the year for Frank Ladson Jr., the Clemson transfer. Snap was a little bit low. No problem for Borregales.
How about that? We get the turnover and 7 points to show for it. Miami with a nice start here after Enter Sandman plays in the house. And there you see on that drive, that's more like it. 3 for 372 yards. A beautiful catch by Colby Young to get him down there. And then the touchdown. And a nice job by an offensive line protecting for their quarterback, Ja'Kai Clark. Banged up today. A couple guys, they've lost three of their top 6 offensive linemen. Zion Nelson. So they've had to piece a few guys in there, not very deep along the offensive line, but good to start here, this one on the opening drive.
King lets it sail into the back of the end zone, no return. Miami coming up with the points off of the turnover as Virginia Tech was driving. And so the Canes have the 7-0 lead. 12:05 to go in the first quarter. Wells back out there. Junior quarterback. Charleston, West Virginia. Quick pass, and that's incomplete. Goes through the hands of Wright. More impact players brought to you by your local Toyota dealers.
How about it? There's Malachi Thomas up top last week at Pitt. Welcome back, Malachi, the sophomore from Hartwell, Georgia. And Akeem Mesidor, one of the best rush ends in the nation. He's long, he's strong, outstanding defensive end, the sophomore transfer from West Virginia.
Wells goes down. Several players converge. Mesidor, you just mentioned his name, in on the play for Miami. There is no gain.
Harold Jackson in there as well. Here's another look at it. Trying to run it with Wells, but nothing doing. And fresh bodies in there, too. That's a luxury that not a lot of teams have that Miami does. Some big guys up front, and they can keep them fresh, roll them right back in there, and still be able to put good pressure on with a 4- or 5-man rush.
Third down, sturdy pocket to the edge. Catch is made. Caleb Smith, 9 yards, just a little bit short of the line to gain at the 35. Darrell Jackson Jr. taking Smith down.
DJ Ivy out there as well, and a good job by this secondary of understanding where they are on the football field. Simple things, and you think that it would be the first thing for any football player, but knowing where they're trying to break those routes off at, knowing where the sticks are, let them catch it in front of you, step up, make the play, and they do just that, force a fourth down.
So that was Miami taking a timeout prior to.
Timeout, Miami, their first 30-second timeout.
That is our referee, Marcus Wood, in charge of the proceedings this afternoon at homecoming in the 40th all-time meeting. Time for our Ford Keys to the game with James Bates.
Well, you know it has to be music themed, right? We got Enter Sandman, and well, I went Uncle Luke 2 Live Crew, Move Something, going way back to those great Kane days. And that's what I would like to see out of this Miami team in situations so many times this year. Goal line situations, red zone situations, 4th and shorts. Move something. Let me see you move a little something with that offensive line, defensive line as well. And for Virginia Tech, a Metallica song, Ride the Lightning. Start fast, which they haven't done so far, and big plays. Lightning quick, big explosive plays. They had a couple early, but the fumble turned things around. Good look at Frank Beamer there as we saw those keys to the game. He's always been a big key around here.
Christian Moss gets it away. Smith wants a fair catch, ranges to his left at the 19. 46 yards on the punt. There's the Hall of Famer Bruce Smith as well. Rolling into the house on homecoming with his Hokies, trailing 7-0.
He can't hide.
For the ride of life.
The vibrant colors of fall on display all around Lane Stadium. His uniform colors represented in the teams on the field today as well. For Miami and Virginia Tech, the Canes have won the last 3 meetings in this series. Tyler Van Dyke with a 5-yard TD pass. Last possession for the Canes. Knighton is the back to the left of Van Dyke, a sophomore from Glastonbury, Connecticut, and Suffield Academy. Loss of 1. Nasir Peoples, number 5, in on the stop.
Peoples wore that Frank Beamer number 25 last week. Honor for these defenders, special teams players to wear that number 25, honoring the legendary coach. 20th start today for Peoples, and a nice start to this drive, taking the Canes backwards.
PJ Prelo will wear the 25 in honor of Coach Beamer today. Van Dyke pressured, got it away, past the 30. First down to Brashard Smith.
Nice job by Van Dyke. He knows he's going to get hit, stands in there strong. It's okay to go low when that quarterback's out of the pocket. You can't do it anymore when he's standing in there inside the tackle box. But when he runs, he turns into a runner. Uh-oh.
Incomplete at midfield. Looking for Ladson Jr. Van Dyke and Ladson Jr. combined for the touchdown earlier in this quarter.
Yeah, Hokies are lucky. You didn't say they were combining for 2 already in this first quarter. Big drop right there. Ladson almost had his 2nd touchdown of the season if he hangs on. You get a sense that coming off of last week, so far, the Canes offensively just getting lathered up here.
That previous pass, the first incompletion for Van Dyke. That one high percentage to Colby Young, 4 yards. Virginia Tech's C.J. McCray being attended to on the field. We'll step aside for just a moment from Blacksburg, Virginia. Being checked out by the training and medical staff for Virginia Tech. Sophomore, Lumberton, North Carolina. He's in on the previous tackle, James.
Yeah, got up and walked off okay, and I say hopefully, but I guess that is the case. Hopefully it's just a stinger. It's sure what it seems like the way of looking at him over on the sidelines, the way he grabbed that arm. One side goes a little bit numb, trying to turn and burn and go over there and make a play and help make it a 3rd down down and long here coming up for the Canes, and this is a place where they need to improve as well. Just 5 of 14 in the loss last week to UNC.
Overall in the season, James, not too bad, though. 46% on third down. That's 4th in the ACC. Trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. North Carolina, Middle Tennessee, both at home. And then on the road, they lost at Texas A&M.
Some pretty cool environments these Canes have been into already. They're halfway through this 2022 season.
Van Dyke with the time to operate over the middle. Virginia Tech side of the 50. Will Mallory, the senior from Jacksonville, Florida. They got 15.
Well, the new guys have already hurt you, Virginia Tech. And the one thing that you better make sure of is the #1 target, Tyler Van Dyke's go-to guy, the vet that he trusts so much that you know where he is at all times. Coming off the 8-catch performance against the Heels last week, that's just way too easy. Sits it down right in the middle of that defense. Easy pitch and catch, moving the chains.
His 21st catch of the season to lead the team. Another deep ball. Both players fighting for that one. Latson Jr. was the receiver.
Nice job by Mansour Delane to stay strong in there, and a couple guys pushing around a little bit. I think a little hand fighting that they let him get away with it. Latson seemed to have the upper hand, but they unable to come on that back shoulder, come back and get that football. So it'll be a 2nd down and 10. Again, a nicely thrown ball, though. A couple good deep balls here early in this game by Van Dyke.
Josh Gaddis, the offensive coordinator for Miami, aggressive play calling and favoring the deep ball to that right side. And now Miami has taken its 2nd timeout of the first half with 8:52 to go in the first quarter and leading 7-0 for Mario Cristobal. 52-year-old from Miami, went to Christopher Columbus High School, part of a couple of national championship teams as a player at Miami as well.
Got quite a bit that he had started to build up there at the University of Oregon to come back home too, and knowing that it wouldn't be instant success. Isn't that right, Wiley Ballard?
Ball spent a lot of time in talent acquisition. One of the gems he found was Colby Young, transferred from Lackawanna to Community College, had a huge catch earlier in that touchdown drive. Now, he's not the first Lackawanna Falcon to transfer into Miami. The last was Bryant McKinney, who was an All-American left tackle, drafted in the 1st round, a top 10 pick. So that a Scranton to Miami pipeline alive and well.
pretty good company there.
Knighton tries the right side. It'll be 3rd and short, 8 yards.
There he is, a Hall of Famer, national champion, Brian McKinney in 2001. Nice NFL career, proud Miami Hurricane. And it was good to see for Hurricane fans there on that last carry. They need a big day out of Jalen Knighton. They need things to go his way. Get him back feeling it a little bit here after a couple tough days. And here's a Wildcat situation.
On 3rd and short, that'll be enough for a 1st down. Curry Brown making the play and getting 3 yards.
Well, there you go, and this is exactly what I called for off the top. Talking about moving something, and they do just that. They do it out of Wildcat formation, change it up a little bit. Good blocking up front, and then they just leave it up to the big man, Ja'Curry Brown, the backup quarterback. Power his way for a 1st down. Good in short yardage situations here.
Van Dyke on the run. Floats it down inside the 10 and caught. Rashard Smith going up to grab it. And they'll mark him at the 9. And a flag has been thrown behind the play.
Offense, number 56. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
This is going to be on Jonathan Dennis. The new center in there. Played a little bit last week at UNC, right in the middle. Snapping that football. It's Dax Hollifield, and he's got them all wrapped up. They don't call holding all the time when they can in college football, but that's one right there that I think you have to. Hollifield had the step. Dennis just hanging on for dear life. And Dennis is a South Florida guy who initially went to Oregon and then came back with Mario Cristobal. And in there for Ja'Kai Clark, a junior center who was dinged and not going today.
Van Dyke stepping up out of the pocket and throwing incomplete, looking for Will Mallory behind his tight end. Dax Hollifield, 6'1", 245, and the senior from Shelby, North Carolina, the backbone of this Virginia Tech defense. The lunch pail attitude is back in Blacksburg.
Yeah, he didn't even hook to Brent Pryor to bring it back. He thinks the world of Bud Foster, the gentleman that brought it around, longtime great defensive coordinator here.
10th play of the drive, swinging it wide. Smith, flag is out. He's inside the 40. Penalty marker on the field.
On the stop, 41, shaking the grip.
I think this is going to be on Isaiah Horton on the outside this time. So 2 holding penalties.
Holding. Offense, number 16. Penalty, second down.
And there you see it right there. He's holding number 1, Amari Connor. So going the wrong way now after doing nothing but putting the pedal to the metal and going forward here in the first quarter for Cristobal's team.
Second down and 26 from their own 46-yard line for the Miami Hurricanes. Van Dyke in a congested area and caught inside the 30-yard line to Will Mallory. Bates, it was 28 yards and a first down Miami.
Wow, how about this ball? Good protection. The Hokies bring 4. Hollifield is all over Mallory except for his hands. Mallory strong enough to fight him off, pull that ball in, secure it, and move the chains of second down and 26 conversion. Great throw by Tyler Van Dyke, given the time right there.
2 catches for 42 yards from Mallory. This is Knighton. Tries to sidestep a man and gets down to the 25-yard line.
Making the tackle for the Hokies, number 5.
No gain on the play. Peoples on the tackle. Tywan Garbutt, number 45 for Virginia Tech.
And you're almost getting into a situation here where Miami, they haven't been great on the ground here as of late. They don't want to throw it 60 times like they did last week.
They only ran for 42 yards against North Carolina, James. That was last week at home. Van Dyke sliding down inside the 15. They'll mark him at the start of the slide, which is going to be very close to the marker.
And 2 big pickups by Van Dyke. First to Mallory with his arm. Here, everything collapses around him. And that's a perfect example right there of Tyler Van Dyke. He doesn't jump off the page as an athlete, but he's good enough to hurt you. He can tuck it and go, and he's smart enough to know when he needs to tuck it and get out of there. Get us what you can. And I beg your pardon, it's a 3rd and 1-yard shot.
9 yards of the run by Van Dyke. They hand it off. That is inside the 15 for Thad Franklin, number 22. Got the necessary yardage to grease the chains and move them for the Canes inside the red zone.
They're high on the sophomore, Thad Franklin from Chaminade, down there in South Florida. Trying to work him into the rotation with Knighton and Parrish being dinged up a little bit. Big body guy, and the perfect guy to use in these short yardage situations where they've had some trouble. And they've had a lot of success in the short yardage tries here today.
5th in the conference in the red zone, Miami, for the body of work. It's down to the 10 and Brashard Smith. Gain of 4.
You know, last time we had a similar look over there and blocking on the perimeter. The Hokies got bailed out with a flag. That time, there wasn't a flag, but the Virginia Tech has to matter to them. Outside on the perimeter, guys like Armani Chapman, you can't settle with just being blocked. You got to fight to get off of those blocks. On the flip side, a good job blocking on the perimeter that time by the Canes receiver.
16th play of the drive. Very small yield, if any, for Thad Franklin. Again, the Canes can get a first down, James, at about the 4-yard line. Just over 3.5 minutes to go in our first quarter. So glad that you're with us for ACC football. Over 7 minutes chewed up on the clock by Miami in this drive. Van Dyke looking right all the way to the end zone with touch and finesse. And too far for Brashard Smith. Jamari Connor in the back corner of the end zone with Smith, and it's 4th down.
Just a little bit too strong from Van Dyke. And here comes the field goal unit for an attempt for the first time today.
28-yard attempt for Andy Borregales to tack 3 more on for the Miami Hurricanes, and it is good. So the sophomore knocks it through. He's now 9 of 12 on the season, James, on field goal attempts, and makes it 10-0 Miami late in the first.
Miami, 141 passing yards. We've got 3 minutes remaining about in the first quarter. And as I was getting to it earlier, it was what was there against North Carolina last week. You mentioned the 42 yards rushing, but the 496 yards passing for Tyler Van Dyke.
Hey, Bates, look what it is. Our 5-star drive summary brought to you by
Yellowwood. Shoot, believe me, doesn't have that yellow tag, you don't want it. There you go. They go 71 yards, ate up 7 minutes and 42 seconds. And the result, 3 points. And a 10-point lead for the Miami Hurricanes.
So with 3:02 to go in the first, it's Miami 10, Virginia Tech 0. On homecoming, a wonderful crowd has assembled, as they do each and every Saturday here in Blacksburg, Virginia. King watches it and will not return it. And so Virginia Tech trying to get a little offensive traction for the Hokies. Just 56 total yards so far in the first quarter.
Well, Romy, my man, that first series, they took the opening kickoff, and they were moving it. A couple big plays, one on the ground to start, and then the big reception that ended in a fumble. I'd like to go back to some of that magic that was working for them first time they had the ball.
From the 25 on first down. Rushing game with Thomas for Virginia Tech. It's been a struggle on the ground this season, James. 112 yards per game on the ground for Virginia Tech, 13th in the ACC.
They're over it quickly, ready to snap it here on second.
Going up against a Miami defense, 3rd against the rush this season. 2nd and 7, inside of 2.5 minutes to go in our first quarter. Left side. Quickly diagnosed. Lofton made the catch.
Yeah, nice break by Darryl Porter. That's a long, scary throw coming off the hand of Grant Wells. Darryl Porter, the transfer from West Virginia, American Heritage product. And playing for Pat Surtain in South Florida, just a sophomore.
3rd and short. Virginia Tech 0 for 2 in this situation so far. Boy, that is right on the line and good enough. That'll move the sticks. Thomas got just enough on the rush. The nose of the football looking over the Hokies 35, and the chains are moving. On first down, Thomas plows it into the line for 2 yards. Just over a minute to play in our first quarter.
Ride Thomas with him healthy now until he needs a breather. They've got Keyshawn King, Jalen Holston. They've got some experience at running back, but he just gives them a different dynamic. Offensive coordinator Tyler Bowen said, you know, we're not really sure what we had until we saw him last week live, this new coaching staff.
Pocket crumbles. Wells has to exit and stumbles down at the 39-yard line. 2 on the scramble by Wells. Darrell Jackson Jr. made sure he would go no further. 3rd down from its own 39. 1 of 3 on 3rd down. In fact, they just picked one up as Thomas went into the line for a short yardage gain. Right back to 3rd and long. Call it 3rd and 6. First down right at the 45 for Virginia Tech. Just 10 seconds to go. That pass incomplete. Nick Gallo only saw it at the last second. Couldn't find it. 4th down.
Yeah, that's kind of been the knock a little bit on Grant Wells. He's played better the last 2 weeks, but he'll still have a handful of plays that just make you shrug your shoulders and scratch your head, and that's one of them there. He's got this guy Gallo, big target. Inside ease, what should be an easy throw, but just off the mark, and forced to punt it away again and give it back to the Canes.
Lost the punt. That'll go out of bounds after a 33-yard punt. That's the last play of the first. Miami trying to spoil homecoming. Converted the turnover to it. Our first quarter stats are brought to you by the Georgia Drives Chevy dealers.
Yeah, how do those stats look there, Miami Hurricane fans? Offensive coordinator Josh Gaddis got to be happy with the way the numbers look on 21 plays. The 161 yards. Look at 3rd downs, 4 of 5. And to start the second quarter, there goes Van Dyke and company.
He's going deep, too far. There is a flag down. The punt by Peter Moore before we went to break was only 33 yards, and Colby Young was the intended receiver.
Personal foul. Hands to the face. Defense number 73. At the distance of the goal. First down.
He said defense, but pointed offense. I think he means offense. So, yeah, that's a couple of big penalties. That's Cooper, and there's Cooper, left side of your screen, and there it is, protecting Van Dyke. Couple big holding calls in the first quarter. But I will say one thing, these receivers from Miami, they have a step just about every time on the secondary, on these defenders for Virginia Tech.
Incomplete pass. Miami's already picked up 4 penalties coming into the game, Bates. They were the least penalized team in all of the ACC.
Yeah, they only had 3 penalties against North Carolina. What's going on over there, Mario Cristobal? I mean, it's like for the longest time, you had to kind of live with the penalties if you're a Miami Hurricane fan. That's kind of the rough and rugged mentality, but wouldn't that be nice if you keep that trend up and hurt them a little bit right here? And so far, it's been one of the only things that's stopped them as penalties themselves.
That pass over the middle, a twist and grab made Will Mallory. Then he took a hit. He is still down. Peoples made the hit. Mallory shaken up on the play that went for 20 yards. He had to adjust to the football, James, and was in an awkward position after the catch.
Personal foul. Targeting. Defense, number 5. The previous play is under further review.
Well, they'll take a look at it, and it's, you know, Mallory is without a doubt defenseless here as he's coming down backwards, and good job by the tight end to clear Hollifield, and then, yeah, that's going to stick. Glad to see Will pop up and walk it off over to the sidelines after that big hit, but I mean, it's a hit to the head. I mean, I don't know what they're upset with here at Lane Stadium.
Yeah, that falls under the criteria of forcible contact, James, neck and head area. And it doesn't matter if it's crown of the helmet involved in that instance.
No. It's a defenseless player, and he goes down, and it's definitely contact to the head. And so it's a tough one on that break, but that is the ruling. Now, Sear Peoples, a big part of this defense, probably going to be gone for the rest of this football game. Well, like I said, just glad it looks like Mallory's okay. Elijah Arroyo, his backup, the sophomore tight end from Frisco, Texas, is out for the season with an injury. We have Jaleel Skinner back there.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. 15-yard penalty is added to the end of the play. First down.
Peoples is upset, and he's a senior. You don't get too many more of these. Playing with your guys, and he's trying to play hard and make plays, and that'll be it for the day for Peoples. You just missed this game, of course, the rest of this one, since we're still in the first half. But the Hokies will have to do it without him. And again, they have Miami backed up, and they bail him out with a penalty, so it's first down at midfield.
From their own 49, Van Dyke avoided the first wave, but not the second, and he goes down. Taiwan Garvin, loss of 6. Josh Fuga also there, number 6 for Virginia Tech.
They've done a pretty good job to this point protecting Van Dyke, but how about Garvin? Garvin just puts the offensive lineman on his backside and goes hunting down the quarterback. Well, that'll help a little bit right there. So a second down and long again here coming up for Van Dyke.
Opening stages of the second quarter. Miami ahead 10-0. Touchdown pass from Van Dyke. Field goal from Borregales. Knighton on the run, just 1.
Mentioned it a little bit earlier. And the one thing, you know, a little counter right there. The big body's moving. You've got some pretty good linebackers that are playing for Virginia Tech, Tisdale and Hollifield. They're going to sniff that out. I'd like for a couple chances, Jalen Knighton, give him a chance to get out there and have some success. You're going to need him the rest of the way. The Rooster helping you run that football. Here's a big third down now, and the Hokie fans decide to make a little bit of noise.
4 or 5 on third down. Something didn't look right. 3 markers out.
All start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty, third down.
Fifth penalty of the game against Miami.
That was on John Campbell, the left tackle in Orlando, Florida. Dr. Phillips High School right there in the shadow of Universal Studios. Now they're really going to make some noise. They had something to do with that last penalty. Let's see if they can get them going again.
Franklin. Got it into Virginia Tech territory on a 12-yard gain. Jalen Stroman on the tackle, well short of the 41-yard line of Virginia Tech. That was the line to gain.
This is a Brent Pry football team that blocked a punt, played some beamer ball against Pitt last week. It was the first block punt, believe it or not, since 2018. Like a little bit of a safe look right here at midfield.
Headley on the punt. Hits at the 5 and checks up near the 10. 40 yards on the punt from the senior Lou Headley from Australia. 10-0 Canes. Hokies deep in their own territory.
Tackler is Corey Flagg Jr. And now he may be undersized, but he's playing for Charlie Strong, linebackers coach for Miami in his first year. Of course, many know Coach Strong because he was the head coach at Texas, which is why it meant so much for Corey to have him come in as his position coach, because Corey's from Houston. And in fact, the way he found out that Coach Cristobal had brought in Coach Strong was that his father, Corey Sr., called him, and they were both freaking out over the phone. I cannot believe Charlie Strong is going to be your position coach. And it was fitting in a lot of ways, guys, because Corey's father is one of the biggest inspirations in his life. Wakes up at 5 a.m. every morning to go to work. Says he doesn't love his job, but one of the reasons he does is make his family happy.
And Wiley absolutely is Corey's teammates out there trying to go sideline to sideline and make plays, but you should be excited, not just because you've got a guy who's been a head coach, but Charlie Strong is one of the best human beings out there. He was a coach for the University of Florida when I was there, and actually spoke with him a little bit last night. It was so good to catch up with him, and I think the world of Charlie Strong. And he really seems happy with the Miami Hurricanes helping coach these guys up now.
Complete on the edge. Caleb Smith on the pass from Grant Wells. Darrell Porter in coverage, 10 yards and a first down after the Hokies started from their worst field position so far in the game.
There he is, Coach Charlie Strong. One of many great minds to have on this staff. Both of these staffs, with these first-year head coaches, just top to bottom. They're very talented football coaches, both young and old.
Coach Strong, along with defensive coordinator Kevin Steele, who's been in the coaching business for almost 45 years now. What a conversation we had with Coach Steele earlier in the week, James. It was story time, and it was awesome.
It really was. Almost 40 years coaching. Many of them in the SEC, and many of them as defensive coordinators. So many schools, and so many incredible coaches he's been around. The Bobby Bowdens, the Tom Osbornes, the Johnny Majors. He's had a couple of people that coach him talking about writing books, being with some of these guys. Here goes Wells.
Wells kept it, got spun down at about the 26-yard line. 4 yards on the play. Jackson Jr., Williams in there for Miami. This Miami defense, they've been pretty good this season, Bates. Against the rush, third in the conference. They only allow 102 yards per game to the opposition. Coming off that tough loss against North Carolina at home, 27-24. Last Saturday, flags are out prior to the play developing.
Ball start. Offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty, third down.
Well, Miami's had some big ones, 15-yard, 10-yard type penalties. This one is every bit as painful, 5 yards the other way when you got a third down and medium.
Just 1 of 4 on third down in the game for Virginia Tech. Three losses in a row against West Virginia here and at North Carolina and Pitt a week ago, 45-29. 403 yards of total offense against the Panthers on the road for Virginia Tech. Wells on third down. That'll fall incomplete, and it's followed by 2 yellow penalty markers. Smith, the intended receiver, Porter Jr. in coverage.
Pass interference. Defense, number 5. 15-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
Well, let's take a look at it. I guess he's got him. I didn't see that hand up top. That's one reason, though, Tom, why you wear the colored gloves, the orange gloves, even though they don't match that maroon there for the Hokies uniform. Imagine if he has a white glove on. That white glove stands out. It stands out a lot. I didn't see it from way up here, but a good call is he had a hold of that jersey to help him out.
Are you suggesting Bates working outside of the confines of the rule book? Thumped out of bounds was King, and another penalty marker.
You know, Miami.
There is no foul. Late hit out of bounds.
Okay.
Second down.
You know what? They don't like it here in Lane Stadium, but it's a boom play, like an out at first base. If they were saying he was out of bounds, the question that I had is the fact that for defensive player safety, lowering that hat and leading with the crown of your own helmet, not to protect the offensive player. I was worried for the Hurricanes. We might have a look at the targeting, but we won't have it there. And I like that no call right there. Here's a second down and 7.
Wesley Basaint had that hit along the sideline. There was no foul. 8:40 to go in the second quarter. Thomas, no gain on the play. Jafari Harvey on the play for Miami.
You got that Jafari right. His aunt asked Cameron. He said, "Hey, they're calling him Jafari." It is Jafari, so we got to make sure we take care of the sophomore from Vero Beach.
I double-checked that one with Cameron Gorby, Sports Information, Miami. Wells on the run. Had to heave it into the Miami bench on third down. Flag Jr. up in his grill. Wells had to get rid of it.
To Corey Couch over there as well. Good job by Miami. And one thing that has plagued this defense, you go back even to the Middle Tennessee game, and they did a good job with the exception of just so many explosive plays. But other than a few explosives that really cost them, they did a good job of locking things down. And here, holding Virginia Tech, keeping them in front of them, keeping the lid on this offense, so to speak.
Peter Moore, sky high to Brashard Smith. Telling his teammates to get away. It took a Miami bounce and got away from the coverage team. Out past the 20. Fortunate bounce for the Canes, who have the lead in Blacksburg 10-0 after a 41-yard punt from Peter Moore. 31 years in coaching. Most recently as the defensive coordinator at Penn State, 2016, part of a Big Ten championship team. Also, from 95 to 98, James, a Virginia Tech grad assistant, and all 3 years they went to bowl games when he was here prior to his arrival as the head coach.
Yep, coached under Bud Foster. Here, the legendary defensive coordinator, the man with the lunch pail. He brought back that lunch pail and brought back Bud Foster. Bud Foster's still with an office in the building. I actually saw him, ran into him on my way in. Upstairs at the press box this morning. It was good to see Coach Bud Foster, one of the best to ever roam the sidelines. All those defensive plays. Trying to play some Foster-like defense right here, some Brent Pry-like defense right here. And Chris Morrow, their new defensive coordinator.
Van Dyke's pass is complete near the 25-yard line. 6 yards on the play. Skinner has it for Miami. 7:43 and rolling in our second quarter. First catch for Skinner. In fact, Van Dyke, James, last week used 9 different receivers to throw for 496 yards, a career high. Also 3 TD passes. So far, he's used 5 different receivers today. This time they'll try to work it out past the numbers and get 3 yards for Knighton. Lauderhill, Florida, and Deerfield Beach High School. Virginia Tech player down for the moment. Taiwan Garbett, the Virginia Tech player down. We'll check on his status when we come back. Comparison, Leonard and Van Dyke.
Yeah, Leonard had been the most accurate passer in the ACC, one of the most in the country. Here's a third down pickup and then some.
Brown all the way up near midfield. 19 yards. So So as we look forward to that game next week, as Miami will host Duke, Brown got the direct snap.
Yeah, there's a nice little wrinkle on these short yardage situations. Reaction, Tyler Van Dyke likes it. Let's keep this drive alive, guys, as we near 7 minutes remaining in the first half. And unfortunately, one more Hokie down on the turf here at Lane Stadium. It's 10-0 Miami. All right, Tyler Van Dyke, ACC Rookie of the Year last year, and he's playing like it today. He's got some other young pups helping him out. Guys like Colby Young, 37-yard catch to set up that touchdown to Ladson. There's one to Brashard Smith. Finds his favorite target, tight end Will Mallory, a veteran tight end, and there's his numbers here today, 12 of 17. Looking closer and closer to 200 yards and the one touchdown, taking care of that football, perhaps the most important thing here today. And now Miami just needs to do a little bit better job of cleaning things up in the penalty category while holding on to that football, and might be able to add to this already 10-point lead.
Van Dyke has 179 yards in the throw game. Virginia Tech total 90 yards so far in the first half. It's been all Miami offensively. They've got the lead on the scoreboard, 10-0. TD pass, Tyler Van Dyke. First quarter to Frank Ladson Jr. And a field goal from Andy Borregales. Van Dyke's pass complete right at the marker. That's Ladson Jr. Brian Murray on the tackle.
Well, isolation on the backside, and look at big Frank Ladson, 6'4", 205, just walling off the defender in a little easy slant, and again, just too easy when you've got Tyler Van Dyke pitching and catching with these receivers. A good pickup on first down. That certainly helps things out the rest of the way.
On second and short, Stanley makes the move and dives for the 35-yard line. He's inside of it. He's got the first down for Miami. 9 yards on the rush.
Quickly back over that ball. Nice giddy up here.
Fake, pass, caught. Inside the 20. Up-tempo Miami, and it's Ladson Jr. again. Murray and Jenkins have to combine on the tackle. 17 yards, Miami.
Come right back to it, have some success on the ground. A little play fake to freeze those backers and make sure there's nobody in that window to interfere with the ball from Van Dyke to Ladson. And another first down.
Back-to-back first downs on the last two plays for Miami. Van Dyke in rhythm. Wants to throw it. This is to the end zone. Falls incomplete in that back corner. Jaleel Skinner made an attempt at it. Garbutt, good to see that he remains in the lineup for Virginia Tech. Was shaken up earlier.
How about Skinner weaving his way in that little window and almost coming up with it? And there's a reaction from Van Dyke, but if we saw Skinner pop off the field, it'd be a similar type of reaction looking at that calf, because, you know, Mallory took the hit earlier. Arroyo's out for the season. Can't afford to have him home.
Van Dyke laser to the end zone. One-handed grab back of the end zone. Touchdown Miami. Colby Young. How about that throw for 17 yards and a score for the Canes, James?
A beautiful throw, a beautiful catch. Colby Young, both of his catches, the 37-yarder that we just showed you earlier in the first quarter was an amazing one-handed catch. This one may be even more impressive. These throws here that Tyler Van Dyke has made here in the first half today, it makes it almost unbelievable that he's struggled at all. He's right back to that form at the end of last season. I mean, Dax Hollifield, again, earlier against Mallory. He was hanging all over him, but they complete the ball. This time, it can't get any better. The coverage in a very tough situation for a linebacker. Good. Looks like Michael Rappaport, like Dick Ritchie from True Romance. Don't just sit there, shoot him, get him.
Well, Van Dyke is the star of this game without question, James. So far, throwing that ball with alarming accuracy and precision. He is 15 of 21, 222 yards and the 2 TD passes. Miami efforting to spoil homecoming here. And up 17-0. No return. Chance Black watches it sail. While we have a moment, let's get a message from Works Nitro.
Meet Works Nitro. Powerful tools for any project with gas-like power without the gas. Fueled by PowerShare batteries to give you the power to outperform.
So far, it's Miami outperforming Virginia Tech. First-year head coach Brent Pry.
Yeah, Pry and the Hokies, Tom, they need to get something going right here. Under 5.5 to go in the first half. Remember, Miami will get the ball to start the second half.
During the week, everybody writes their goals on maroon index cards and puts them in the lunch pail. They have not been fulfilled so far in this first half, James.
No,
plenty of time to go. But look at amount to drive. Ironically, that first drive of the game for Virginia Tech had plenty of momentum. They just fumbled at the tail end of a play, and Miami turned it into 7 points. Malachi Thomas, no gain for the sophomore from Hartwell, Georgia. Jafari Harvey. Leonard Taylor also stacking it up for the Canes D.
Tom, you mentioned that first series. Ever since then, there hasn't been much at all going on for this Hokie offense. Excellent job of tightening up. Might have given them a freebie here. Yes, they did. Flags down. So we'll get another shot here at this one.
They got to the quarterback, but penalty markers. Mesidor was first on the scene for Miami. That's our referee, Marcus Wood.
Offside. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Little things. Take that next step. They're bragging on them earlier, this Miami football team, and so few penalties, just 3 last week, and the close loss to North Carolina. But helping out a team that has struggled quite a bit offensively, making it a third down and short. That's 7 penalties now, and a few of them muy grande here for the Canes. Bunch of them on offense in the first quarter.
They had only had 28 penalties all season. This is third and short. The pile moves to the 36-yard line. Grant Wells hung on to it and got 2. It is a first down. Just over 4 minutes to go in our second quarter. Scribbling out the notes. Brent Pry on that Virginia Tech sideline. "52-year-old from Altoona, Pennsylvania. Trying to figure out the Canes. "31st consecutive meeting between the programs." Wells, daylight up the middle, trying to get out near midfield, and there's a penalty marker thrown in the Miami secondary. 11 yards and a first down up near the 48.
Face mask. Defense. 15-yard penalty at the end of the play. First down.
And there you have it. Good shot at it right up the middle as Wells tries to get past that second wave. Defender reaching out. The Saint has been very active here in the first half today. Costly penalty there. 3:30 left to go. 3 timeouts remaining for Virginia Tech. Obviously plenty of time. And the penalties are what's helping them on this drive.
It's now 8 against Miami. Wells in a cluttered pocket. And he got swallowed up and lost 4. Darrell Jackson Jr., Akeem Mesidor, both in the Virginia Tech backfield.
And again, all these different names, Tom, that you keep calling defensively on the defensive front. There's so many different names because they're able to rotate in there, keep bodies fresh. And the second wave every bit as good as the first guys in there at times.
Crossing the 3-minute threshold here in the second quarter. 17-0. Miami. The strength of a couple of TD passes from Tyler Van Dyke. Wells looks one way, goes the other to Thomas. Looking for some blockers. Fights his way to the 35-yard line. Clock continues to tick. They got 6 on the play. DJ Ivey on the tackle, Miami.
Watching big Jared Harrison Hunt, the defensive tackle, and again, he's listed as second on the depth chart behind Leonard Taylor. He turns and burns, and I guess that's what you'd expect from a guy that played hoops, a power forward in the New York City Catholic League with the Christ the King. Very raw, some of these young guys. Just a sophomore to help him aid in that tackle there on the outside. Getting out there and getting involved. Forcing a 3rd and long now. Here comes the blitz.
Rand Wells goes down. Corey Flagg Jr. and a loss of 7.
Wiley mentioned earlier when he was talking about the sophomore from Houston, Texas. He's going to come scot-free on the blitz. Corey Flagg, 5'11". You know, you can mention undersized all you want, but folks in Miami, shoot, there have always been those shorter linebackers that have just been playmakers on the football field, and not just for the Canes, but, you know, Rohan Marley is a guy who comes to mind. Bob Marley's son, Zach Thomas.
2 sacks on this drive by Miami. Peter Moore trying to pin the Canes. Let's see where it went out of bounds. Right near the 10. And that's a punt of 32 yards. Our Discover the Best is brought to you by the Fresh Market.
Yep, pretty good today. The best quarterback on the field, that's for sure. And the 7 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns, of course, here today. One just moments ago to Colby Young. The first one, Frank Latson. Latson's first touchdown catch of the season. A great opportunity to grow right here as an offense. Got to be careful with the football, though. Virginia Tech hasn't been able to do much at all. Don't give them a freebie down low near your own end zone.
Worst starting field position of the game for Miami. That's incomplete. Looking for Franklin. James, you mentioned Van Dyke, the ACC Offensive Rookie of the Year last year. How about the stretch of 6 games he had with 300 or more yards passing and 3 or more touchdown passes in those games as well? His start was not quite as electric this season, though.
No. We got a chance to see some of that in person. The Georgia Tech game was quite a performance for Van Dyke.
Got rid of it at the last second, too far for everybody in that secondary. Colby Young, who snared that last TD pass from Van Dyke. Chapman in coverage. 1:09 on the clock. So 3rd and 10 for Miami. And the 496 yards last week that Van Dyke threw for. Second highest in Miami history behind Stephen Morris, who threw for 566 back in 2012. The pressing matter is 3rd and 10 for the Canes. They'll try to run and get it, and will! Up the middle, past the 20. Jalen Knighton. 15 yards and a first down, Miami.
Big run for the Rooster right before halftime. Able to keep the offense on the field. If nothing else, chew up the clock.
Quick release. That's Young. Just short of the 40 and out of bounds. Mark him at the 38.
Got to be smarter defensively, Tom. You got an offense backed up on a 3rd down and very long, and they're near their own goal line. They're not going to do anything silly there. Chances are they're going to run that draw, run it right up the middle. They do. Virginia Tech couldn't even stop it. What a punch to the gut. 52 seconds remain, and now Miami a chance perhaps to add on.
That'll be the 5th catch of the game for Colby Young as he goes out of bounds at about the 44-yard line. Chapman forced him out. How about the game Colby Young is putting together? 17-yard touchdown reception in this quarter. 5 catches, 77 yards for Young. Van Dyke. He was targeting Young again, James. Got twisted around. Armani Chapman and Colby Young are going face mask to face mask out there.
Good job that time by Chapman, the senior from Virginia Beach. Guy who struggled with a few injuries of his own this season. There's another 3rd down. This one 3rd and medium now. Look at the Canes. Pretty good on 3rd down. 6 of 8 so far here today.
And Dyke pressured, got it away, sailed it. Looking for Brinson. That'll bring up 4th down with 37 seconds to go. Again, Miami had only 1 timeout to work with there as well. They used a couple of early timeouts in this half. Virginia Tech has the full complement.
You know, again, Miami, don't take this play off with 37 seconds remaining. We all know about special teams and the importance here in Blacksburg, Virginia. Thanks in large part to Frank Beamer, and they did block one against Pittsburgh last week.
This is Harvey. The one they blocked last week, they covered for a touchdown. Harvey let it bounce. And they will mark that one in the vicinity of the 10-yard line. We've got a sack. Let's get a message from Wrangler.
It's in all of us. The courage to go all in. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
After a 42-yard punt from Lou Headley, Virginia Tech and Brent Pry has the football. 28 seconds on the game clock.
You going to wear your Wranglers when you rollerblade on South Beach next week? We go down and see Duke in Miami?
I got them on right now, thanks.
All right. Might have to cut them off. It's going to be hot down there.
Bounce off the pile, Thomas. Doesn't look like Virginia Tech is going to get crafty here, James, in the waning seconds of our 2nd quarter.
Well, I think it's smart. I think that you can't press it. Worst case scenario, you turn it over and give them a chance at more points before halftime. Go in there, catch your breath. You're going to have to come out, though, and play defense right off the bat because Miami will receive the opening kick in the 2nd half after a pretty good-looking first half for Mario Cristobal's team.
Yeah, Miami won the toss and deferred, so they will get the football as they kicked it away to start the game. Let's go down to Wiley Ballard with our coach's interview. It's brought to you by Wendy's.
Thanks, Tom. Coach, fast start to...
First time all season, Virginia Tech shut out in the first half. Talking about Malachi Thomas, 9 carries, just 33 yards to go along with that key stat. That'll bounce in the end zone. So no return from Smith. Miami starts with the ball 2nd half. Canes turned that fumble into 7 points, James, and did not look back. Tyler Van Dyke, touchdown passes of 5 and 17 yards for Van Dyke in the first half.
You know, Tom, it's actually good to see number 5 back there in hopes of returning that kick. The best kick return average in the nation. They had one back in the 4th quarter against Middle Tennessee. Keyshawn Smith's been banged up a little bit. They weren't sure he'd be able to go today. Haven't seen much from him on offense.
Van Dyke now with 9 TD passes on the season. Floats it to the sideline. Batted down. Incomplete. Again, Colby Young's been a popular target, but not this time.
Well, it's a nice job by Mansour Delane. Right there, he doesn't lose the feel of the body. Stride for stride. That receiver's eyes get big, those hands go up. Snap that head around and try to make a play on it. It's tough when you got those great big guys you're trying to defend, able to come over the top of you, but a nice stop there.
Knighton got 2. James, you get the sense that it's going to be up to the defense early on in this third quarter to set the tone and perhaps parlay that into some offensive success.
Yeah, and guys like Holifield, they know it, and they're going after that football too. So Jalen Knighton needs to make sure he takes care of that football. Fumbles have been a little bit of an issue for him here this year. Here's a 3rd down and 8. He flanks Van Dyke on a big 3rd down as this defense tries to get off the field.
6 of 9 on 3rd down for Miami. Van Dyke a strike short of the marker. He hit Young. Stopped short by about 3 yards. They got 6. Holifield on the tackle. It's 4th down for Miami.
Nice job there by the Shelby sensation. Dax Holifield helped shut it down. First 3 and out of the game for the Hurricanes.
Headley is into punt. He brought some pressure. He got it away. It's going to bounce near the 25 and angle out of bounds. While we have a second, let's get a message from Green Machine.
With our 62-volt battery-powered blower in your hands, you are a machine. So power the machine with Green Machine. Available online at HomeDepot.com.
Well, Brent Pry catching up with Wiley Ballard coming out of the halftime locker room. Wiley told you, he said, hey, we got to believe, we got to go out there and make plays. Well, there was some belief that time in the defense, first 3 and out of the game. Let's see if they can get something going offensively now.
Just 2 yards for Thomas. Hokies had 17 total carries for 44 yards, James, on the ground in the first half against 61 yards rushing for Miami. Again, Virginia Tech, as you take a look at what they did in the first half, averaging 333 yards of total offense. That's 12th in the ACC, and they struggled to just over 100 in the first half. Can they capitalize on the first 3 and out of the game by the Canes? Wells with the time. He's dancing, and he's going down. The Canes collapse on Wells. Mesidor. Also Taylor.
It's a nice job up front, obviously, but also as they bring just 4, if they can get there with 4, it helps out so much in that secondary. Extra guys to drop and nowhere to go with that football, so gobbled up in a hurry and going backwards after the big stop by the defense. It's 3rd and 14 now.
3 sacks for the Canes in the game. Those edges will bend. Wells has to throw on the run. He's got a man. It's incomplete at the 40. J.Wan Lofton appeared to have a chance at that one.
Oh, it didn't just appear. He had a chance, and this is a great job by Wells to escape, hit the brakes in a very dangerous football. Could have easily been picked off, the second turnover of the game by Avante Williams, but just strong enough and high enough. Lofton's got to help out. There's your chance right there to make this a whole new ball game. Instead, have to punt it away.
Peter Moore sends it. It's a fair catch made at the 25-yard line. Brashard Smith falling down, but he made it successfully after the 54-yard punt from Peter Moore with 5 seconds of hang time.
And Yellowwood. If it doesn't have this yellow tag, you don't want it.
Homecoming today, Halloween approaching, midway through the season in the ACC. Both of these teams trying to snap Three-game losing streak. 17-0 Miami. Trying to go on the road here at Lane Stadium. Breaking through the first line of defense. Out to the 35-yard line for a first down. It's Stanley. He got 11 for Lucius Stanley.
A couple good runs for Stanley, and on the ground. Talk about an adventure for this Virginia Tech defense last week. We haven't mentioned it yet, but Izzy Abanikanda went for 320 yards and 6 touchdowns. Obviously, they've done a lot better on the ground, almost 10 yards a carry. They got to keep it up. And looks like we'll have a jump and go back the other way. There's penalty number 9.
False start. Offense, number 51. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Let's go down to Wiley.
Well, Tom, I got some discouraging news from the Miami sideline. Their lead tight end, Will Mallory, is out with an upper body injury. It could have been this hit in the first half. Don't know for certain, but that's another significant loss for Miami. Keep in mind, they're without Elijah Arroyo as well. Probably means Jaleel Skinner, the freshman, might get some opportunities at tight end.
Yeah, Wiley, they have high hopes for Jaleel Skinner. He's a good one, but they hate to lose Mallory. Hopefully they'll have him back before too long, the senior from Jacksonville.
False start. Offense. Everyone except for the snapper. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Bates, I think you were offside too.
You think so?
10 penalties now, Bates, for Miami. Only had 28 all season coming in.
Dennis still in there. Dennis say it wasn't me.
By the way,
but a lot of times that means it was.
Mallory with 3 catches, 62 yards, so that's a key loss, obviously, for Miami. As Mallory was the leading receiver coming into the game as well. Van Dyke has an open man. Latson Jr. They connected for a touchdown in the first half. There is a flag behind the play, James.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense, number 3. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the play. First down.
Norrell Pollard, you're going to see him right here. And obviously has every chance to just pull up and not shove Van Dyke to the ground, but chooses to do so. And, you know, a couple of these guys, Mario Kendricks in the middle, Norrell Pollard, a couple Florida guys trying to play extra hard, but you got to do it legally. And Miami's trying to help you out with their 10th penalty, 9th and 10th penalty on this drive of the day. Instead, give them a free first down, and now they're in your territory.
Stanley tries the left side. There is no gain. With the football on the Virginia Tech side of the 50, and the Hokies trailing to visiting Miami 17-0. Miami's won 3 in a row in the series, James, and 4 of the last 5, 7 of the last 10. They've split their ACC meetings, 9 wins apiece. J.R. Walker comes up to make the play defensively. That's a loss of 1.
And that's what I'm talking about is wanting it on the perimeter. Not just letting yourself get blocked and giving yourself up. Well, he's got me. You got to fight to get through him. He does that. Walker does while keeping that outside shoulder free. That's where your help is inside. Drops him for a loss, and it's 3rd down and 12 again. 3rd and 11 now.
Van Dyke with the time. Throws it near the 40. That is short of the first down marker at the 38 to Colby Young. They got 10 yards on the play, so it's going to be 4th and short.
Yeah, and Colby Young, just as we talked about the defenders knowing where you are on the field, offensively you got to know where you are. There's a 4th down and 1. Offense still out there. And the backup quarterback who's had so much success, Ja'Curry Brown.
8 of 16 on 4th down this season.
Offside.
False start. Offense, number 51. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
That'll drive you crazy as a football coach. I mean, you're about to take that next step and be in a tough physical football team, something they've cried for, finishing drives in the red zone, getting those short yardage situations to move the chains. You're about to put them to the test, and they've been successful, so that's got to feel good and help you grow. Instead, a 5-yard penalty, you back it up and punt it away. Oh, that's penalty number 11 now on Miami.
Headley punts it. Kakavitsas is deep. Bounces at the 5 in Miami. Downs it just beyond the 5-yard line. Near the 7 or 8. 36 yards on the punt. Deep in their own territory for the Hokies.
Mileage, available at Pet Boys. And Green Machine, available exclusively online at HomeDepot.com.
Lane Stadium, home of Virginia Tech football since 1965. They win over 70% of their games here, but the miscues, James, so far today have cost them. They trail 17-0 here in the second half.
Yeah, it started on the opening drive. Big play, looked to be anyway, 27 yards down the field, but then Wright fumbles it. Here's a chance. They can't get it going in the second half. Or into the first half, rather. But here will be a second chance for Brent Pry's offense in the second half. But after the punt by Headley, they'll start things off near their own goal line. 8:14 left to play in the third quarter here.
Worst field position of the game for Virginia Tech. Thomas on the slow developing handoff, 4 yards. Mesidor on the tackle. The Hokies string together some productive plays on offense. It's been a challenge so far today. 102 total yards in the game to this point. Correction, 106 after that last play for Virginia Tech. Wells on the play fake. Open man. Cut down at the 15 as he hit Gallo. 4 yards.
Nice job by Couch. Gallo with the catch and go up there and knock him down before he can get those shoulders turned going north and south. Couch, a junior out of Chaminade down there in the Fort Lauderdale area. A couple Chaminade players here on the team. There's another third down and short. Hokies need to stay on the football field.
2 of 8 on third down. Great open field tackle. Malachi Thomas made the catch. Keontre Smith made the tackle just a yard and short of the line to gain.
Smith, another Chaminade guy. Back-to-back plays. The guys from the 9-5-4. Excellent job to break on that ball. And again, let them run those routes in front of you all day long. And that's a great job of knowing where you are on the field. Make that catch in front of me. I'm going to step up and make the play. They've got to punt it away here. And this is turning. I thought it was Virginia's for lovers. It's for punters here today.
Peter Moore. Smith circles at the 35. Up that sideline and right near midfield, not quite to it. 49 yards on the punt by Peter Moore and return by Smith, 16 yards. Miami has excellent field possession. And they've got the ball.
Mario Cristobal.
What?
He's tough. He's built tough, and it's brought to you by Wrangler. Here's proof. Number 72. We've got him there in that highlight on the left side, left tackle there. Look at these old, grainy, this footage of FSU in Miami back in the day. Cristobal, part of 2 national championship teams in his time there at the U after graduating from Columbus High School down there in South Florida, 1989. 1991, and he's back home now. He was a graduate assistant 1998 to 2000. And not just tough on the field, but tough as a head man, and tough in a hurry. The way he turned around that FIU program quickly, turned it around at Oregon. 2 Pac-12 championships in 3 years. Great job recruiting up there right now that they're taking advantage of for 3 years, and now he's trying to get it done back home, back where he feels like he belongs. His football team is up 17-0 with 6:20 left to go in the third quarter.
Yeah, that all included a Rose Bowl win as well, James, against Wisconsin to finish number 5 in the national rankings, the 2020 Rose Bowl on New Year's Day. Smith. Trying to get to the 40. Very close to it and out of bounds. Rashard Smith, the sophomore from Richmond Heights, Florida. Got 9. How about Gino Torretta back there slinging it, James? Yeah. The 92 Heisman Trophy winner as well. By the way, Miami, after today, will have their game at home against Duke, and then in a couple weeks after that, they will host Florida State. He's playing Clemson today. First down and more. Barreling his way. That's Thad Franklin. Cam Johnson made the tackle. He trudged his way to 23 yards for number 22.
22 with the big banger at 240. It looks like he was looking for someone to hit there for a while. Here's a flag. While they sort that one out, here's one more look at the sophomore. Another Chaminade guy. Again, that Chaminade pipeline. They don't have to go very far and don't have to spend a lot of money on materials.
Oh, defense, number 12. 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
6 foot 240, just the sophomore Thad Franklin. And there's a look at Johnson. Had the flag thrown on him on that last play to aid this drive. It'll be his first down inside the 15 now for Van Dyke and company.
Miami 3 for 3 in the red zone in the game. 5th in the conference in red zone offense. Looking for the back corner of the end zone. And deflected away. Looking for Colby Young. Delane was back there in that back corner of the end zone as Van Dyke tried to connect for his 3rd TD pass of the game. We are now inside the red zone. Brought to you by CPI Security. And Virginia Tech secure the red zone and turn back Miami. That's Franklin. Goes down to the 10-yard line after getting 4. Sophomore from West Park, Florida.
Nice job defensively. Holyfield reads it, tries to blow it up in the backfield, and then there to clean it up. Jamari Connor from his safety spot. Good job by Holyfield to recognize the leading tackler on this team. Very heady football player. See those big bodies coming. Get back there and penetrate and try to stir it up a little bit. Force a 3rd down.
3rd and 7 in the bright sunshine of Blacksburg. Van Dyke taking off. Gets hit at the 7. Left the pocket and got 3. Jalen Stroman impeding Van Dyke's progress.
Yeah, Van Dyke chooses not to slide here. When it gets a little interesting, gets turned around and unable to achieve the first down, which they could have gotten inside the 3. So Borregales out there for the 2nd time today.
Made a 28-yarder in the first quarter. This from 25 yards away for the sophomore from Miami. Up and good. He's 2 for 2. And the Canes up their lead to 20-0. Be sure to stick with us after the 3rd quarter for the 4th. And it's brought to you by CPI Security, starring James Bates.
You always want to give me top billing on that, don't you?
You deserve it, pal.
A lot of pressure.
You've been working hard today and all season long. In fact, for the last 3+ years, our 4th year together.
Yeah.
Calling games in the ACC Bates. We want to certainly commend our outstanding ACC football production crew, bringing you all of the pictures and sound of homecoming, which right now, the party's on the Miami side of the field, James. 20-0.
Yeah, and it's pretty special to keep that 0 up there defensively. They play some pretty good ball, as you mentioned, throughout this broadcast, and really throughout this season. They've done a good job, with the exception of giving up those big chunk plays, explosive plays, and they've kept that under wraps here today as well. playing some complementary football and doing a few things up, and it's starting to look like they're coming together a little bit better on the field. But easier said than done with the penalties when you're looking at 11, 12 penalties here with 3:54 left in the third.
Sails over the head of Chance Black. Well, we have a sec. Here's a message from Works Nitro.
Meet Works Nitro. Powerful tools for any project with gas-like power without the gas. Fueled by PowerShare batteries to give you the power to outperform.
Last season, Miami won at home against Virginia Tech, 38-26. Tyler Van Dyke, 3 touchdown passes in that game. Also won in the last meeting here in Blacksburg in 2020, 25-24. TD pass late in the fourth for game-winning points for Miami back in 2020. Gallo gets 3. This is a series that dates back to 1953. And remember, both teams were in the Big East before they joined the ACC back in 2004. Smith on the catch. Third catch for Caleb Smith in this game. That's a first down.
Quite a week last week against Pitt. 9 catches, 152 yards for ACC receiver of the week, and won't get this play off.
4, 5-yard penalty, first down.
James, both of those numbers you mentioned for Caleb Smith, the 9 catches, the 152 yards, career highs in that loss at Pitt.
There you see the penalty yards, and 121 for Virginia Tech.
Excessive.
Well, total yards. I'm sorry. The penalty yards for Miami versus the total yards. And
incomplete Thomas.
Well, and Tom, the penalties have been a big deal, and one of the only negatives really for Miami here in this game. And there haven't been near as many penalties for Virginia Tech, but they feel almost as costly when you're having such a tough time doing anything. I mean, how tough is it for them to get 4 or 5 yards? So when they go back 5 yards, when they finally got a couple back-to-back plays going for them, and there, it's almost like it's contagious. The bad things, you go backwards 5 yards, and then you got one of your star players dropping the ball like that in Thomas.
Second down. They stop Wells. Mitchell Agude. Another sack for Miami. It's a loss of 3. Ball's at the 27.
Good job with the hands by Agude. Hold those offensive linemen at bay, shuck them, go and make that play, come collapse down. Excellent job when he saw Wells try to tuck it and go.
4th sack of the day for Miami. 3rd and long. Just over 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. A rapid third. Wells with the time. Off the fingertips of the intended receiver, Smith. There was activity late in the play.
Yeah, that should be a penalty. That's a penalty if he has the ball. So Miami dodging a little bit of a bullet right there. If he has the ball, defenders anymore aren't even supposed to throw guys to the ground, let alone when they don't have the ball after the play, throw them down. So able to get off the field without giving them a free first down here is Miami. You got to be careful with stuff like that. And that's a coaching lesson, fortunately, for Mario Cristobal and his staff. They can teach it, but they don't have to feel the pain here on the field with a flag.
3rd 3 and out this half for Virginia Tech. Smith will let it bounce. Field it and get wrangled. 54 yards on the punt from Peter Moore. Loss of 2 on the return. Again, just no offensive traction, James. 3rd 3 and out. Maybe a little wardrobe situation.
Changing numbers for special teams.
There's a player down for Miami.
Javonte Williams, who the turnover earlier.
Sophomore from DeLand, Florida. 7 punts in the game for Peter Moore for Virginia Tech.
He's just the wind knocked out of him there, and good to see him pop up and get off the field. Ormy, what movie was shot, a lot of it in DeLand, Florida?
The Jim Carrey.
No.
Yeah.
No.
How about Waterboy?
Yeah, Mama said alligators are so ornery because they got all in teeth but no toothbrush.
Down
That's
on the field, James, you need high quality H2O.
Yes, sir. Yes, that's Stetson University has really shot a lot of that.
Bates, you know, I was talking about starring roles for the 4th coming up. Bates also a star in the movie Waterboy. But you already knew that. Knighton.
You can't call that a star. You can give me top billing in the 4th, but not, not something like that.
You got a credit at the end of the movie. That's all that matters, Bates.
So again, Virginia Tech a much better job on the ground stopping the run than they did. That cost them the game against Pittsburgh in a 45-29 loss. Last week they gave up 326 on the ground. Almost all of it for Bannock-Handle.
Another completion. So Horton made the catch on that one for 5 yards. Again, you see Van Dyke spreading the wealth. 8 different receivers now. Used 9 last week when he threw for 496 yards as the play comes in. That's the most by a quarterback against an FBS opponent this season. Not going to be able to throw this one. Thanks to the Virginia Tech defense and Taiwan Garbett. It's another sack for him. Senior, Fredericksburg, Virginia. 3rd total sack.
Nice job by these guys to stay in their rush lanes and to use those hands. Hands are so important. They're bottom on the edge there, rushing, coming underneath. And if you're not using those hands and you're chest to chest, you're all tied up with those offensive linemen. But if you extend and you separate, you can get rid of those guys. You shuck them, come down. We just saw it done at the other end for Miami. And Garbett, who's been banged up, playing in his 5th game here today with a nice play.
DJ Harvey is deep. Fields it, 36-yard line, and it's covered. The punt was 47 yards from Lou Headley. And there was no return. Kinchins covered it for Miami against Harvey, who had nowhere to go.
Excellent job. Beamer ball is what they pride themselves in up here. Great special teams play, but
Well, the Cadets are ready, but they've been unable to fire the cannon. Skipper. First put into use in 1963 to honor John F. Kennedy Jr. Wells threw it. First down yardage up past the 45-yard line for Lofton. 11 yards on the connection.
Day one, Lofton, and they're on the fly. Hall on the move, an excellent job. Lofton had a big drop earlier today, and he makes up for it a little bit right there by laying out and bringing it in, moving the chains.
Looking for Moss. That's incomplete.
Yeah, but here's the rough part, though, Tom. It's, it's the consistency. So much of this game is consistency and being able to do it on back-to-back plays. And you've had Wells. He's had some good plays. He'll have a good play, but then he'll go out and be off target. And it's just, you got to put together a nice drive, and you do that with back-to-back good plays. Here you go on the ground.
So while he runs that one for a first down, James, he is 12 of 20 through the air for 88 yards. He got 12 on the scamper.
That'll work, and here something you haven't seen much of at all. Virginia Tech down in Miami Hurricane territory. We'll put this football down there and score some points, put it in the end zone with a touchdown perhaps. could get interesting.
Offensive coordinator Tyler Bowen needs to get creative at this juncture. Out of a sturdy pocket with the time, incomplete.
Pass to the face. Defense, number 81. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's on Jared Harrison Hunt. Bailing him out with, is that 12? I think 12 penalties now. About a dozen penalties here. Beginning of the fourth quarter. Hoping had an offense that really had a tough time moving the football, playing such good defense. Got to be careful with those hands.
Wells. He got out of the pocket. Take the pass going down the sideline. Wells makes a cut at the 5. He stepped out. Stepped out at the 10. Grant Wells on the run out at the 10-yard line.
That's a little Sandlot style here. That pump fake when you're down the field. Give him a little pump, frees the defender, and then turns it upfield. A little bit of grit. There's a step out at the 10-yard line. Nice call by the official.
17-yard run, James, is the longest play from scrimmage today for Virginia Tech.
That's the spark that these Hokies needed.
First time in the red zone. They are last in red zone offense this season. Wells sacked. Leonard Taylor III. Loss of 5. And just when they build the momentum after the Wells run, a sack for the Canes.
Right here, 90. Watch Messidor off the edge. That's beautiful. Excellent job by the transfer from West Virginia.
James.
Yeah, there you go. Duke and North Carolina battle for the victory bell here later today. Carolina beating these Canes last week in a close one, 27-24. How about the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets? Brent Key has them with back-to-back wins after taking over at his alma mater. A little bit of a surprise on a couple of these games with the Pitt Panthers. And Georgia Tech, that was their first win after firing Jeff Collins, the head coach.
First trip into the red zone today for Virginia Tech, which lost at Pitt last week, 45-29. Wells trying to run it. He gets dragged down at the 15. No gain. Malik Curtis in on the play.
Akeem Messidor, you got to give my man credit, man. He's making back-to-back plays. We got to pat him on the back. I mean, he reads those big guys getting up and pulling. They're not pulling for no reason. He just follows them, and he's got such a good burst, a first step. He penetrates and just drops him. And it's third down and goal from way back.
How about just 2 for 10 on third down? Out on the edge, racing to the pylon and diving. Malachi Thomas and a touchdown, Virginia Tech. What a play by Thomas.
That's James Williams, the big safety, the sophomore. Hitchens and Williams, 2 outstanding young safeties. And the big man taking a look at his right leg, rather. That was big for Grant Wells on third down. And Malachi Thomas. Thomas been battling some injuries. Made his season debut against Pittsburgh. Came back strong with 15 carries, 84 yards, a touchdown, and 5 receptions. And that's a big old reception right there to take it to the house on a third down and goal.
Will Ross for the extra point. 14 yards of the TD score. The 7th TD pass by Grant Wells.
Wells knows who to get it to. 24, like Kiefer Sutherland. When it's all on the line, it's 20-7. Finally on the board are the hometown Hokies.
Let's check out the drive presented by Range Rover Sport.
Yeah, and Grant Wells got out on the edge, running around a little bit. Started way back with Dawan Lofton. An outstanding catch, the layout and get it. Wells doing it on the ground as well. And then a guy who mostly does it on the ground, the running back Malachi Thomas, out of the backfield and into the end zone. And pretty long streak of scoring. 3:53. The game's Hokies straight have scored in, and that 0 was hanging up there for quite some time. 12-10 left in the fourth quarter before they finally get 7 on the board.
That streak, by the way, James, goes back to 1995 when they lost here to Cincinnati 16-0. They're on the board. It's the first receiving touchdown of the season for Malachi Thomas. 7th TD pass through the air for Grant Wells. That's usually where TD passes go, through the air. I just want to see if you're paying attention, Bates.
I wasn't, but now that you brought it to my attention, what a loser. I can't believe you'd say that.
Smith halfway deep in the end zone, and he will stay there. And there is a Miami player down, and 2 flags have been thrown. Well, that was odd.
Yeah, and it was way away from the football, too. I didn't even see what went down. And
it was Avante Williams who went down. Remember, he had the fumble recovery early on in this game.
After the play, there were unsportsmanlike fouls by both teams. Number 40 of Virginia Tech. Number 15 of Miami. The penalties canceled. First down. This is both of their first unsportsmanlike conduct of the game.
Happens at about, I want to say, the 25-yard line, right by the hash there. Oh, man, they're swinging. Williams acted like he got knocked out trying to get the flag, but they each get one. And you know, lucky for Virginia Tech that the officials were looking early enough, because a lot of times it's just the last guy to swing.
How about Miami rolling out in a 5-receiver set? All of a sudden, this game's got a little juice. Room to run, first down and more. Brashard Smith, one of those 5 receivers. He got 14 yards.
Yeah, putting those athletes out there and putting the defenders on islands, just getting them the football and letting them try to make plays. And a lot of times that's your running game. Those quick throws and having blockers on the perimeter, especially when the running game isn't setting the world on fire for you. Find another way to do it. And it works there.
Smith has 6 catches. Van Dyke got rid of it. Going up that sideline. Flag is out near the 40 for Kobe Young. There are 2 markers thrown on the play as Young tried to make his way up the sideline. He's walking gingerly back to the Miami bench area.
I think it's going to be a hold. And Kobe Young, gosh, he's having such a great couple games now. He's banged up a little bit. We'll take him to the tent.
7 catches for Young in the game.
Holding. Offense. Number 23. 10-yard penalty. First down.
23 is Skinner. Out there on the edge trying to make a little bit of room for Young, but grabbing in the process. 13 penalties.
Incomplete. Latson couldn't get his hands around that one from Tyler Van Dyke, like he did back in the first quarter for a touchdown pass of 5 yards. Remember, Van Dyke threw the ball 57 times last week, James, at home against North Carolina. Completed 42. He has thrown it 38 times so far today.
14 penalties now. False start.
False start. Offense. Number 51. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
DJ Scaife, senior.
That's a guy with 46 career starts, James, on that front line. As you mentioned, though, they've been depleted up front.
And these penalties have become contagious here for the Canes. Costly. Second down and 24 now.
Trying to overcome 14 penalties. Threading that one through the middle. Ball bounces out. They're saying incomplete pass. Incomplete to Skinner. Could not hang on. Stroman knocked it loose.
Excellent break on the ball and way to go after the football. Not up high at the head for Stroman. And that's a good call. It's incomplete. Didn't have full possession and make the football move. They don't even need to look at it right here. So here's your third down and 24.
Well short of the first down. Miami needed to get to its own 49-yard line. Colby Young has another grab, but it's fourth down for Miami after the 15-yard play. Delane back there to stop Young. Well short of the marker.
You know, Tom, and with the inability to get a run game going, just imagine the amount of time they could have eaten off that clock being able to run the football and get a few first downs. Instead, you get a couple incomplete passes. There's all kinds of time in this football game for Virginia Tech.
Headley's punt takes a Miami bounce, trickles down inside the 5. And they down it near the 3. Lou Headley with a 57-yard punt, and that ball's near the 2-yard line. Wow, what a punt from Headley to pin Virginia Tech, trailing 20-7. Bates, was that a spider on the lens? I mean, the craziest things happen to us when we come to this building.
I know it's like Charlotte's Web, but instead of some pig, she needs to put some quarterback. Tyler Van Dyke, for the most part, has had quite a day here today.
Good for you. You went a long way for that one. Good work.
What's the author of Charlotte's Web? E.B. White? E.B. White?
Efforting.
Okay. Here we go. In their own end zone to start. Long way to go now, Tom.
Yeah, probably needless to say, worst field position. Watch out. Play right along that goal line. That was Thomas who got stood up. No gain.
Keontre Smith. Chaminade. Product. I got somebody sent me a message saying that Chaminade just beat a team with a running clock at 90-0, I believe, here in their most recent game. So they didn't get rid of all their talent, I guess. They're not all here playing for the Canes up in Blacksburg today.
Our clock is running as well, 9:45 and counting. Last time Virginia Tech won here in Blacksburg against Miami, you have to go back to 2016. Second effort, Thomas. Smith again meets him, 2 yards, 3rd and long. Just 3 of 11 on 3rd down of the game for Virginia Tech.
Good look at Smith, the junior linebacker. They've got a handful of guys who sit at that 5'11" spot. Playmakers.
13 carries in the game for Thomas, 41 yards. He does have the receiving touchdown as well of 14 yards in this quarter from Grant Wells. He'll operate from his end zone. What a great catch on the edge. Thomas, first down, flag is out. Like he had Velcro on the fingertips. There is a penalty marker.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 23. That penalty decline. Result of the play is the first down.
16 yards on the previous play. Out to the 20, so some breathing room for Virginia Tech.
3rd down and goal earlier when they needed him most. They throw the ball out to Malachi Carter. His season debut last week. And they're starting to put him to work here. Now another huge third down with their backs to their own goal line. They use him again to move the chains.
And he's coming off a foot injury. That pass is complete. This is Wright. He's past the 30-yard line, and that'll move the chains as well. 12 yards on the play. Daquan Wright.
Nice job blocking out on the perimeter by Daquan Lofton. Sophomore out of Cowtown, Fort Worth, Texas.
Drive started at their own 2 after the Lou Headley punt from Miami. Wells. That was Thomas.
Well, he takes off too early. Here may be a little bit of the rust of not playing very much in live action. You know, otherwise, you're going to get a few more. That's the one thing about Malachi Thomas, whether he's taking the handoff in the backfield or catching the ball through the air, he's going to get you a couple extra yards. That time he's lucky to come up with that catch, and it's still a gain of 4, so a 2nd down and 6 now.
Thomas ran it for 84 yards last week, as James mentioned in his first action of the season. Deep pass, Wells. Receiver had a step. Daquan Wright, pass was too far. That'll stop the clock. 7:14 to go in the 4th. It's a 17-0 halftime lead for Miami. Keep in mind, both of these teams have lost 3 in a row. So this is such an important game for the trending for both of these programs. And we are not done yet. Far from it. With just over 7 minutes to go in the 4th. Trying to convert on 3rd down again, and that pass is incomplete. Holston was turning and twisting and couldn't gather it. So now it's 4th and 6.
Nobody within 10 yards of Jalen Holston. He's going to get a 1st down and a whole lot more. A couple big drops. Grant Wells hasn't always been perfect here today. The receivers got to step up and help him out a little bit. And one more time. And punt it away.
Moore's punt will bounce at the 40. That's a Hokie bounce. Down to the 31, 32-yard line. A punt of 32 yards from Peter Moore. Miami has the football back in front. In the 4th quarter, homecoming here in Blacksburg. This team electing to punt, James, on that 4th down. It was 4th and 6. Maybe give it a shot. Enough time on the clock. I mean, you need that ball back, and you need it back in a hurry.
Yeah, but you've been able to stop them a little bit here the last couple of times, so putting a lot of faith in that defense. You've had such a tough time moving it offensively. There's a look at the rest of the schedule for Brent Pry and these Hokies at NC State, who's got a big one at Syracuse tonight, and then Georgia Tech in Atlanta. Georgia Tech's won 2 games in a row. And with Brent Pry. Hope we don't have to call that one. You get the Prize and the Keys mixed up. Guys won't sleep the night before.
Bye week for Virginia Tech. That October 27th game is a Thursday night at NC State. Virginia Tech's working on a 5-game winning streak in this series against the Wolfpack. Van Dyke has an open man at the 45. That is a well-devised play, and it finishes with a pass to Jaleel Skinner in open space for 24 yards.
Finishes with Skinner, but it starts with an offensive line that's protecting their quarterback. Plenty of time for Van Dyke to sit back there and let Skinner come across the field. Here's a look at the big guys, a crew that's been banged up a little bit. Mentioned Jonathan Dennis starting there. Center, Sagapolo.
Incomplete. 35-yard line of Virginia Tech. Ladson Jr., intended receiver.
Just the fact that they just aren't even trying to run the football, that they've just given up on running the football in a situation like this, it just blows me away. I mean, the University of Miami, it's all those great backs that have come through there. And I know it's a bit of a rebuilding time for them, but still, you'd like to think that they could get a couple first downs or at least try and run that clock out. Instead, you're stopping the clock. Virginia Tech with 3 timeouts.
We've seen Knighton and Franklin, Brown and Stanley Brown in the Wildcat a couple of times. We'll be there for you. Miami Gardens, Hard Rock Stadium, Bates. Next week, Duke and Miami. Duke playing for the Victory Bell tonight. Again, 12:30 next week, Bates.
Cafe Versailles on Friday night.
All right.
Get a cafe con leche and a paella. Wiley Ballard got the ox feet last time we were down there. He did.
Miami won at Duke last year 47-10, so that'll set you up. That's a wobbler. May have been deflected.
It was the oxtail. It was the oxtail.
Pollard got a piece of it for Virginia Tech. Stops the clock. 6:16.
I mean, like they're just incomplete balls, and you know maybe this is why. It's just knowing. I mean, you're running the football, and this thing is getting interesting. You know, on that last drive as well, but also you can't go to sleep on it. Don't go to sleep and have him hand one off to Rooster and let him run it to the paint.
4 receivers to choose from. Van Dyke has to heave it. That's out of bounds. Colby Young, the closest Miami receiver, and once again, the clock stops on the incompletion. C.J. McCray providing pressure to Tyler Van Dyke. 4th down.
Nice to see McCray back in there. He left the game with an injury earlier.
So only 48 seconds, Bates, came off the clock on that possession by Miami.
And how valuable has Headley been? Headley, and the ability to just pin him time and time again inside the 10 and a couple times inside the 5. Let's see how he does here.
His last punt was at the 2. This might have a little checkup as well. No, that's into the end zone.
That's when we start to brag on it.
Headley's the senior from Mandurah, Australia, out of the City College of San Francisco with a 44-yard punt. Of course, Headley is 29 years old, so he's enjoying his college experience. I'm jealous. All right, Bates. Mark this down. 6:02 in the 4th. Virginia Tech takes over.
Okay.
Miami was ready. So Wright got gobbled up by Flagg Jr. and a loss of 2. I think Miami is content, James, to put the outcome of this game in the hands of its defense down the stretch here in the 4th.
Well, I think I would be as well. I mean, Miami's helped this offense a few times with penalties, and with the exception of a couple little plays, it hasn't been very pretty for Virginia Tech offensively.
At the 25. Catch and a move. Lofton still fighting his way up to the 40. James Williams on the tackle. 23 yards and a first down, Virginia Tech. There's a pulse.
Yes,
there's life.
But at the same time, Tom, I guess it only takes a couple plays, and it only takes a couple more plays. There with 5:15 now left in this game. We'll stand over the ball so Miami can match with the substitutions. And here we go.
From the 41. Wells was looking deep, and the pocket folds in. Mesidor again. He is living in that backfield. The 5th overall sack for the Miami defense. sophomore from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and a transfer from West Virginia. Loss of 3 on the play. Timeout, Virginia Tech.
And again, one thing that's impressed me, not only the ability to get there with 4, but to get rid of these, have a feel for what that quarterback's doing, staying in those rush lanes, and get rid of those blockers, extending, using those hands, get rid of them, come down and make that play. And we've seen it time and time again. It's a well-coached defensive front, and it's been fun to watch them compete here today.
Miami has allowed just 202 yards to Virginia Tech in total. Canes coming off that excruciating loss at home against North Carolina by 3. They rolled up 538 yards of offense and still lost. Trying to overcome an exorbitant amount of penalties in this game as well, which is not their calling card. Normally, they're the cleanest team in the ACC. They have struggled with the Yellow Hankies today.
Mesidor, it feels really good when you pick out a guy. Sometimes when you pick out a defensive end and the play doesn't go to him that much, you know, you may not have the player of the game, but my star to watch was Mesidor, and man, he's making me look good here today.
Wells on 3rd down. Exits the pocket. He's got some room to go. He's looking at that marker, and he gets ripped down to the turf and knocked down, and all kinds of flags come out. So Corey Couch came up to meet him rudely and may pay the price on this one.
Yeah, up here, I was wondering if it was going to be. I mean, he obviously
after the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, late hit, defense number 23, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
15th penalty of the game for the Miami Hurricanes. Mario Cristobal was proud of his team. Only 3 penalties last week against North Carolina. Look at that, 129 penalty yards. And how big is this one right here?
Both of those numbers penalty-wise the most this season for the Canes in a game. Wells down the sideline. Flag is out. Jalen Jones was going down that sideline for Virginia Tech.
Pass interference. Defense, number 8, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
DJ Ivey just playing physical here. 2 guys just both banging. I don't know about that one. I mean, most of them have been pretty easy. And that one, you've got a physical corner, and just because he's able to muscle him around, you penalize him for it. As a receiver, you got to fight a little bit to stay in the field and stay in that route.
From the 20, the pressure from the backside. Wells released it incomplete into the end zone. Jaden Blue for Virginia Tech to Corey Couch defensively in that end zone.
The pressure, a little bit of a stutter before turning on the Jets. Otherwise, Chance Williams might have had a shot. There's another school that you see a lot of up and down this roster in days of old as well. Oakleaf High School up in Jacksonville. Shaq Quarterman, great linebacker from up there, now with the Jags in the NFL.
2nd down behind the receiver. Wright tried to adjust to it and could not do it.
All right, Miami, remind each other. Just no fouls, no penalties right here. Play it clean, keep it clean. Don't help them out. Aiding them all along here in the second half. Flash play here and there, but so many penalties to help them out.
There is a flag thrown.
All start. Offense, number 72. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Jesse Hansen. I'm not positive, but I don't think he's one of the Hansen brothers, the Mbop guys. He looks a little bit big. Plus, they're probably older than him now.
A penalty makes it 3rd and very long. Pass completed at the 20-yard line. Nick Gallo is number 86, senior from Richboro, Pennsylvania. 6 yards on his catch. Couch made the play, James.
Good job by Couch. Keep him in front. Step up and make that play. Here we go, 4th down.
Over the middle, twisting, catch made, inside the 5, Nick Gallo. They got it on 4th down. They'd only been 2 of 8 all season on 4th down. What a catch by Gallo for 16 yards.
Great catch, great throw, back-to-back catches there for Gallo. He got cut down the last time. Now he's got him knocking at the door.
1st and goal, that's Wells trying to batter his way to the goal line. And he's in for the Hokies. A 3-yard touchdown run. Grant Wells.
Got to give this Virginia Tech team credit. They continue to fight. Got everything going their way for them for the most part here today. But now, a touchdown away, Tom, from being in the lead with 3:20 remaining. Seems like just a couple minutes ago, it was 20-0, and the Hokies hadn't even sniffed the goal line.
3rd rushing TD of the season for Wells. Remember, it was 4th and 10 for Virginia Tech on this drive, and it's Gallo.
Wow, and it's an even better catch than I thought it was on the fly by Gallo. He goes back across the grain, catches that ball with his hands, and how about the quarterback, Grant Wells? Gutty goes head-to-head with Corey Flagg and able to roll in to the end zone. The second effort, Flagg doing a good job of tackling him up high, but unable to stand him up and stone him. And Wells winning that battle and across the goal line. So now with 3:20, and remember, here's one thing to think of. You're playing with fire anyway if you try to kick it away to a guy like Keyshawn Smith. With 3:20 and 2 timeouts left, and this is, Miami fans, they saw their team come down and almost get an onside kick last week at North Carolina. What looked to be a heck of a play from Al Blades Jr. was all for naught because he had stepped out of bounds. And it's the hands team out there for Miami expecting this onside kick right here from Virginia Tech.
Hokies have the 2 timeouts. Miami has 3. Kyle Lowe will tee it up. Virginia Tech has not attempted an onside kick this season. 20-14 with 3:20 to go in the game. They'll blast it away.
So they choose to give Tyler Van Dyke and the Canes the long field to work with. And again, it sure seems to be a one-dimensional offense for Miami. They haven't even tried to run the football and run out that clock here in the 4th quarter. The incomplete passes have allowed that time to stay on the clock and allowed Virginia Tech to hang around. 2 timeouts remaining for the Hokies. There we go, making some noise here on homecoming in Lane Stadium.
0 rush yards for Miami in the quarter. They'll throw it. They got nothing, and they're going to have to like it. Loss of 2. Out to Brinson. And it was a committee tackle. Reinforcements in maroon and orange and white.
Well, J.R. Walker recognized and reacted in a hurry. Excellent play. Didn't mess around with the blocker. Didn't let the offensive player get turned up. Clock does run, though.
Miami snaps it with 10 seconds to go on the play clock. Knighton. Jalen Knighton, 3 yards. Third down.
Hokies will use a timeout. They've got 1 left. 2:30 remaining, and it's a third down and 8 they'll have to talk about. And Miami finally going to the ground and forcing them to use that timeout. But you're right, Tom. The presence of mind of that play clock, these seconds. 10 seconds left on that play clock when they snap that ball on second down.
So with 3:54 to go in the third quarter, Borregales hit a 25-yard field goal. It was 20-0 Miami. The last 14 points have come from the Hokies to close the gap to 6 with 2:30 to go. And it's 3rd and 8.
35-yard line. Know where you are on the football field. Where are they trying to get to? Where are you running those routes at offensively?
Complete past the 40. Van Dyke with a strike. Up to the 42, 15 yards to Frank Ladson Jr.
Well, he doesn't have Mallory as big tight end anymore, so he looks for another big man. 6'4", 205. The big body able to just wall off the smaller Armani Chapman at 5'11", 208. Big connection right there. A connection that started the scoring for the Canes way back in the first quarter.
4th catch of the game for Ladson Jr. Van Dyke still has the football. And he drops down at the 44, and a timeout Virginia Tech it is, its last. So I just told you a second ago, Bates, it was 20-0. Couple of TDs from Virginia Tech in the 4th.
Well, don't call it a comeback. It's always a good game, right? You had to expect it. Well, it was a little bit wonky getting there, but finding a way, and that's all it takes to get back in this football game, clawing their way back here in the second half. Excellent throw there by Wells after that touchdown by Thomas. And then after the completion to Gallo, it's Wells into the end zone after the big hit by Corey Flagg. But time's a wasted now. Under 2 minutes to go, using their final timeout here. And it's second down. Look at all those zeros up until the 4th quarter. Miami has to take care of this football. First things first right here. Worst case scenario, you play a lot of that clock off and you let Headley get in there and boom one down and make these Hokies prove to you that they can drive the length of the field in a short time.
Three yards. Stanley carries it. Third down. Clock is rolling. Virginia Tech cannot stop it out of timeouts. Miami has won 3 of the last 4 played between the teams here in Blacksburg. Will the score hold up for the Canes after the comeback by Virginia Tech with a couple of TDs in this 4th quarter?
Stanley needs to make sure secures this football. They're going to be going after it here.
Van Dyke has it. Van Dyke first down, 45-yard line. Van Dyke got 9.
Just enough with the wheels to really hurt you. He's not a blazer. He's not a world beater like some of these quarterbacks that just give defensive coordinators fits. But he's heady enough. And he's smooth enough to tuck it and get you a few yards when you need it the most. And boy, did they ever need it right there.
Substitution and fraction. Offense. More than 11 players in formation. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Just for good measure, with 46 seconds left, if this score holds up, and there's a good chance it will after that Van Dyke run on third down, that will be 4 in a row in the series and 5 of the last 6 wins for Miami against Virginia Tech. And Miami, once again, if this score holds up, we're inside of the final minute. We'll go to 3-3 Bates. They'll go to 1-1 in conference play after losing at home to North Carolina last week, and will host Duke next week. We'll have that for you, 12:30 Eastern. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. Virginia Tech, if it loses, they are staring at 2-5, James, and 1-3 in conference play.
Yeah, and how about that? Miami, you know, as tough as that loss was a couple weeks ago to Middle Tennessee, it was ugly, but it wasn't an ACC loss. So unlike Virginia Tech, they've got the one loss coming in here today. And in that Coastal, it's still early in the season. And they could find themselves in the mix, but obviously they can't do it if they can't clean things up with these penalties. And they also need to figure out how to run that football as they go down the home stretch. But a nice road win for Mario Cristobal and his Miami Hurricanes on the road up in a tough place. No matter what's going on with either team, to come and get a win. And they'll do that right now.
A couple of first-year head coaches face-to-face for the first time at Lane Stadium, in Miami will come out with the decision. They do need to snap it one more time. They do it. Van Dyke made that run on third down, and that sealed it for Mario Cristobal and the Canes. Don't forget, next week, 12:30. These Miami Hurricanes to host the Duke Blue Devils. Our final score, 20-14 for James Bates, Wiley Ballard. I'm Tom Wormy. Thanks for watching ACC football on your regional sports network. We say so long from Blacksburg, and the final score, the Hurricanes 20, the Hokies 14. Thanks for watching.